So, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Default Global. This is where we connect with global first entrepreneurs and remote work experts from all around the world to share their experiences. Our guest today is Lucas Posada, co founder and CEO at Takenos. Lucas, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Vit, and I'm very happy to be here chatting with you.
Sure, absolutely. And before we start, maybe could you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah. Well, as you said, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Takenos, which is like a wallet and a financial infrastructure for freelancers and contractors in Latin America working cross-border globally. Personally, I've been working as a product manager in tech for more than 10 years. Around 1.5 years ago, I started as a co-founder and well now acting as a CEO. But my experience in tech has been for a long time now. So I've been a developer, I've been a designer, I've been a product manager, I've been a sales person, like like what you do when you try to build your own resume. So I've
Right,
done
you,
a little
you
bit of
have to do
everything.
everything, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Okay, sounds perfect. And speaking about techiness, right? So
Yeah.
it seems that you've created a sort of financial infrastructure for freelancers that are based in Latam, right? And my first question would be, could you share some insights on the unique challenges these freelancers that are based in
Yeah.
Latam face when it comes to um, kind of charging for their services
Yeah.
internationally?
Sure. So the main challenge the industry is facing is that this market exploded after the pandemic. So before 2020, there was about like 3.5, 4 million people working cross border, and most of the people were hired in some kind of model more on a regular basis or more traditional on cross border hiring. And after the pandemic, the market exploded. So the first thing that appeared is the volume of freelancers that are acting like contractors. So you have platforms like Deal or on top or remote.com that are having like distributed teams here in Latin, but also you have another kind of segments of users that are joining the cross-border knowledge-based service offering. So now you have lawyers that are working cross-border, you have teachers having students all over the world, um, you have like several kind of services that in the past they used to be just like in person, and now you have them remotely. So we have been like a big explosion of therapists working for US Latino segment or even
Oh,
Europe
really?
to Spain
Really? I didn't know
working
that.
with. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
there's especially in Argentina, is one of the biggest, let's say in a way, producers of therapies like psychologists, and the prices to have a session, which with one of them is like 1/10 what it costs in the US to go to a therapist. So this segment of therapists are reaching audiences that maybe in the past didn't have the chance to go to a therapist because of the prices, and now they have the possibility to go through different platforms and get a session for like $10 or $15.
But still, I mean, why did you decide to create this platform? Because there are a bunch of other financial tools that you can find on the market, right?
Yeah.
So, are there any specifics of the Latam
Yeah.
market that I mean, I know this, frankly speaking, because I have like a teams and also in Argentina,
Yeah.
and I know in terms of like a challenges to get money from
Yeah.
abroad, but what challenges that they face. But still,
Yeah.
just want to talk about this from your perspective. So,
Yeah.
can you maybe share some use cases or success stories from your portfolio that demonstrate how your company has empowered those professionals, like you said, therapists, maybe freelancers, maybe tech guys, to expand
Yeah.
their reach and access international opportunities?
Well, what happened with this explosion of new people on this market was that the financial infrastructure was not offering a service for everyone in their countries where they're living. So what we saw is that there was a big infrastructure built around, for example, international wallets. Let's call it like PayPal is the main case, but those companies are not thought to be used in regular use cases for the financial and economic life of the Latin American people. So once you try to mix those realities, so you try to go from your international income to your local economy, so you have to pay rent, you have to pay your car, you have to buy coffee. In the middle, there are so many complexities around how to get that money ready to spend that there were so many like missed spots where we try to fill that gap, you know. So basically freelancers in Argentina, for example, has to go through two or three intermediaries to go that money available to spend on a convenient exchange rate, and also they have to wait for around 3 4 business days to get the money ready to spend. So they have to go from, for example, the US bank or the US international wallet to an exchange, and they have to give you the pesos, which is our local currency, and then you have to have those pesos in a local wallet or in a way of spending them locally, and then you can use it. Which was like kind of different on how the transactions were made before, because these people that we are onboarding on Takenos and this industry is onboarding is used to have in borders economy. So what they used to be used to is to get a salary or to get like the money for the service they're offering to a local bank transaction and be ready in the moment to spend it. So that's what changed. So now you have like an economy that has gone cross border, and the money is somewhere that the freelancer, the contractor doesn't know. And most of them don't know how to go through the different complexities that the financial infrastructure has for them to be ready to spend their money. And this is a very big problem in countries, for example, like Colombia, where the freelancers and contractors of Colombia are not able, because of regulatory issues, to have a US bank account or to have a dollar account. So they have to go through the exchange before having their money. So there are so many caveats that you can find depending on the country that you look for. But in fact, what is going on in the whole region is that we are making the Latam talent available to the world, but the money that they are getting is not available to spend in Latam today. And that's what we're looking for.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. So on the one hand, we have talent in Latam, for example, in Argentina or Colombia, right? So for example, it might be some tech guy or therapist, right? So or someone
Yeah,
else, and we have like his or her client that is based in the U.S., right? So how does it work? For example, I'm the client who is based in the U.S. I have never heard about Techinos, right? So what should I do to pay that person in Argentina? In how it works from the freelancer point of view. So I have credit card and I receive those USD on that credit card, and I can go to local store and buy something with that credit card. Could you give me some more details on how it works
yeah,
on a basic level?
yeah. So first, for the US company, we have two kind of clients there. So the main client is the company that has distributed team in Latam. So it has two people working in Argentina, one people working in Chile, and three people working in Colombia, stuff like that. So the company on board Takenos send the total amount of the payroll that they are paying for the distributed chip, and that money is available on wallets for each one of them. Once they have it there, they have three withdrawal options, and the withdrawal option changes depending on the country there. And our focus as a company is to provide the best withdrawal option available in the country where the freelancer is living. So, for example, in Argentina, you can get pesos at a very, let's say, convenient exchange rate. You can get cryptocurrencies, stablecoin, or you can get like a local bank transfer in dollars. And that's different. There's some difference between an international bank transfer and a local bank transfer, referred to cost and speed. So local bank transfers in dollars are faster. So what happens here is that the company onboards, the companies adds the emails of the freelancers or contractors they're working with, and each one of them get a wallet. In that wallet, they get the digital currency, and once they want to use the money, they withdraw it. Where do they withdraw it? They have local bank transfers, or they have cash withdrawals at some kind of Western unions. So it's similar to Western unions but work locally. So they can get the money available on their local wallet like Mercado Pago or local bank accounts, or they can go and withdraw directly cash. Eventually, in the future, we're developing the possibility of the contractors to get like a card, and that card to be local in local currency, which is something different from what today is offering, for example, Deal or Payoneer. They do offer cards, but they are international cards in dollars, so you are tied to the exchange rates that offers Deal or Payoneer or whatever of these companies are, and those exchange rates goes, and they're very severe. So what we're trying to do is to build local infrastructure that are connected to the international infrastructure.
Hmm. Got it. So basically, yeah, we have Pioneer, we have Wise, I guess we have PayPal, right? So on the market, and the main benefit of your company is, as far as I understood, is basically this exchange rate. So it's not so severe as like Pioneer has, for example, or Wise. Am I right? Or there are some
Well,
other benefits.
it's not only the exchange rate,
Mm-hmm.
it's an infrastructure built locally, and that does not only affect the exchange rate but affects the whole transaction process. So it's real time. It has a good exchange rate, but most of
It
all,
is
you
faster.
as a
Yeah.
user, yeah, it's faster. And most of all, you as a freelancer contractor do not have to go through the complexities to get an international transfer. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to go to the bank and try to get an international account. So those are depending on the country in Latam, you can or you cannot do it. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to find different options. So we take that out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
So we are the ones that do the international transaction, and you have the money available in borders. So in that case, you can get like a local credit card. You can get a very fast and real time withdrawal. You could get like a good exchange rate. You could get like a local bank transfer, which is like immediate. You could get everything you get as a local worker, as a worker working in borders,
Mm-hmm.
with our technology without the need of losing the benefits of working cross borders.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very interesting, in fact. And you mentioned that you utilize you use basically crypto technology to facilitate those payments between clients and professionals, right? So, and what benefits does this approach offer compared to traditional payment methods like Swift, for example, or the
Yeah,
same PayPal or this bank transfer?
yeah. So the main benefit of using crypto as a technology is the speed and the cost. So you get like immediate international transactions once you have on ramp or off ramp. So once you are in crypto, you have those US dollars in USDC, for example, in stablecoin, and you have to move that money, and you have to make that money available in local currency, for example. Those money flows becomes more efficient, And also, if you compare the cost of international transactions, so maybe it's in percentage not that big if you do a big transaction. So if you get like 10K a month, so if you get 10K a month, maybe a bank international transaction is not that bad because it charges at least $50. But if you get like a micropayment, let's say like you provided a therapy session, or you provided whatever, like you are a teacher and you gave a class and you want to use the $30 your student pay. So in those cases, the fees could go up to, I don't know, like 50% of the transaction of what you get. So in those cases, crypto is really useful for managing cross-border transfers without having to pay very high fees.
Okay, got it, got it. Um, And speaking about compliance and legality, and I know that those aspects are crucial considerations
Yeah.
when operating a platform like Takenos, right? So, could you tell us more, and could you talk about these regulations and process that ensure
Yeah.
the legality, right, of transactions on your platform? Because I mean, I know that in Argentina it's very tough in terms of getting USD, right? There are a
Yeah.
bunch of regulations, a bunch of compliance stuff. The same like you mentioned in Colombia, they have some limitations. And as far as I know, governments are trying,
Yeah.
to get your money to some degree, right? If you're getting in USD. So could you talk more about this? And I guess what I'm trying to understand, how you make sure that all those transactions are safe for those freelancers.
Yeah. So the first of all, which is our biggest concern, is the compliance relating to AML, so anti-money laundering, and that is the one that is most important for us because we have to make sure that each of the transaction we process uh, has origin, so its origin is from working cross-border. So that is something that we really work on how do we create technology to be completely sure that each of our transactions are coming from a service that a Latin American is offering cross-border. We do not process transactions that are because you have an e-commerce, for example, or because like, I don't know, you're selling a digital product like an ebook. We do not process those transactions. We only have protocols and our MAL. It's built around the idea of you offering a service cross-border. So that's the first step. So what we built there is an on ramp, like a way of transferring those assets into crypto, and in order to have it that regulatory in the places where we operate, so we have to provide every piece of information to the intermediaries we work with. So we work with licensed partners, which are the ones that made the transaction from USD to USDC, and then the last part of the regulatory scheme is the last part of the withdrawal option. So once you get the USDC and you have to exchange it to local currency, we only work with regulated exchanges. So you have to make that USDC go through a regulated exchange that we have integrated through our APIs in our platform. So you sell those USDC in your local, in the local exchange, and one is all of the regulatory is sure to be applied. So we declare where the money is coming from. We declare where that exchange is being done, the exchange rate that the user gets, and etc. So once we have that the money go through that process, you get the money available to withdraw or to spend locally. So it's hard sometimes on some aspects that we do not have full control on, for example, on tax, because that is on the end of the user side. So we cannot be sure that every user that work with us has its tax compliance, personal tax compliance, but we encourage our users and we provide the paperwork needed to do all their taxes as they must.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, that's interesting. So it seems that there are a couple layers, right? A couple steps and couple middlemen, I guess, in this stage, right? So, in my next question would be about the cost of all this, right? So, for example, I'm based in Argentina, right? So, and I have this client who is based in the U.S. And this client, he pays like $100 to me. So was all those fees that you charge, that some banks charge, and so on. How much as a freelancer can I get from those $100?
97. So we charge 3%, and it depends on the onboarding process and the negotiation that you have settled with your clients. It's pays or the client or you. Sometimes the final user decides that the one who is paying is the client or the company or whoever is paying or the students, whatever. And sometimes the freelancer, the contractor, decides to pay the fee. So it can be set in the settings of each payment or of a regular basis payment. So you can set that, and you can either you or
Hmm.
the user pay for it. And then we work hard to provide the best competitive exchange rate. So for us, it's sometimes it's a cost, but we fight very hard to provide the best exchange rate in the local industry.
Okay, but still, like you charge 3%, right? There are some fee for this exchange, and also this exchange rate might be different, right? Also, there are some tax that I should pay from that $100, as far as understood. So, with all those steps, how much can I get at the end? Like still 97, or it's usually like a 90 or
So
85 or 60?
it so it depends on the country you live in and the tax implication it has.
Example,
But
Argentina.
imagine,
Let's take
for
Argentina.
example, Argentina, if you get like on an average $1,000 a month, and you go through all the regulatory incorporation that is required by the tax implications locally, you get like, let's say, a month like 910, 920, something like that. You got like $80 in or $90 in taxes monthly.
Mhm. Got it. Got it. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, perfect. And you mentioned that I know that most of your clients are from the technology space, right? But you also
Yeah.
mentioned that you work with some other segments from healthcare, from legal, right, and so on. So, like, what unique challenges or opportunities do you see in expanding your company to other niches? Like, it's pretty much obvious in terms of like developers, right? They are kind of familiar with this space. They've been working in this area for a long time. But
Mm.
like you mentioned, what about therapists? What about legal guys? I mean, lawyers and so on. What challenges did you see there?
So the biggest challenge is the user experience. So it's how do we make this complex process look very easy to use? And I think that is there is a challenge of the whole industry now that cross-border work has become so mainstream. That for a therapist to provide, or even some people that are working in tech but not necessarily related to this industry, maybe a UX designer or I don't know, like a data analyst that maybe doesn't know about finance and how financial infrastructure works. So our main challenge is how do we provide the best US experience where with just like 2 or 3 clicks you can get your cross-border transfer, and also your every I don't know if you have like, as you said before, like taxes to pay, but you can go there and through the same UI like do everything in just one step. And that's our biggest challenge, like how do we onboard not the developers but also the whole ecosystem of people that are starting working with further, and the one that is going towards that space, because we have so many other industries that are also going to the cross-border space um, that today maybe we cannot even imagine.
Got it. Okay, so let's talk about some other topic. You mentioned that you have some in-depth experience in sales, right? And I suppose you were the first person who were just selling these products to your customers. So from this perspective, a couple questions. So the first one, as far as I understood, your clients are not freelancers. Your clients are companies that are paying to those freelancers that are based in the US. Am I right?
So we have two onboarding methods. If you already have like an international wallet, for example, you have a PayPal account or a Wise account, or the company you work with pays only through Payoneer, which is a common use case, you can also have a Takenos account and connect the accounts. So you can take your balance from Payoneer and take it to Takenos, and from Takenos use it locally. So that's one use case. The other use case is when we have companies like a B2B sales model. You have a company that this company is working cross border and has its distributed team, and that's another segment. And then we have our third segment, which is for us and personally for me the most interesting one, and it's to be enabler, which is like to provide like a payment option in platforms that are marketplaces of services. Let's say be inside Upwork, Workana, or even Twitch as a creator space, and provide Takenos as an option to withdraw the money from their wallets. So that I think is the hardest challenge technologically, because each platform has its own way of managing their balances and how do
Yeah.
they offer extraction or withdrawals to their users. But for
Hmm.
me personally and for Takenos as a company, is the way we look at the future. We have to be inside the freelancer.com, the Workana, the Upwork, and or every company. Now we have
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
marketplace of therapists, which is called Terapia Mia,
Hmm.
and they have more than 100 therapists working cross border. And the therapists receive their balances in Takenos. They don't have to go through any money flow.
Hmm.
They just see the money there and withdraw it from there from Takenos.
Hmm.
So
Got it.
those are our three clients right now. Eventually, I believe it's a combination between the final user and the embedded model, this kind of integrations model.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Got it. And maybe you have some advice, I mean, for those entrepreneurs who are also based in Latam, for example, and who would like to go to this global market and maybe do some international sales and simply don't know how to do this. Maybe they're building something similar, maybe not from the financial perspective, but maybe from the talent perspective. They also provide some access to those talent, for example, from I don't know, like employment law perspective, this compliance perspective, right? Like Deal Oyster, or maybe there are some local
Yeah.
companies who are providing the same solutions. Um, and for those entrepreneurs who are just at the beginning of this process, could you share some insights and best practices for them, how they can start selling their products globally, internationally, how they can reach new markets for their products?
I would say that at least not only from the experience in Taqueros, but also through the experience of making a company go global in other job experiences that I have in the past. I think the best piece of advice that I always recall from a boss I had a long time ago is you have to be very true and very loyal to your mission, what you're trying to accomplish, and very open to understand each market needs. So, for example, for us, it's like we try to provide Latam freelancers the best financial infrastructure, but also we have to understand what are the value propositions we can provide in each market for this to become real. Because I could say like I could inside this vision I could also build a bank, for example, or I could build a payment processor, or I could build a credit card, or whatever. The amount of products that I have available to build to fulfill this vision is huge, and that decision has to be driven by the need. So you have to be sure and very attached to your vision and your mission as a company, but also you have to go to each market and go very very deep to those one-on-one conversations and try to get what is the here in Argentina we have the saying, I don't know if it's in Spanish in English, but it's like the stone in the shoe. Like what is that thing that is like pressing the shoe as like this is so uncomfortable, but it doesn't happen the same way in each country. For example, exchange rates in Argentina are a big pain in the ass. But if you go maybe to Peru or Chile, it's not that. But maybe it's another. It's how to fill their taxes, or how to get an international credit card, or how do they use like banking scoring, whatever.
So
So
the
you
first
have to
thing you
be
have to
true
find
to
a
that.
problem, right, to solve.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but you have to find a problem that is related to your vision as a
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
You don't have to find any problem
Hmm.
because problems, the world is filled with problems.
Right.
But you can have to have very deep in your soul what you're trying to add as a value as a company in your region or wherever you're trying to work. If you work globally, and go deep in the markets you're trying strategically to attach, and you can find like a tactic market addressable process. You can say like I would like to go to this market first, that market second, and market third, and you could choose that. But the problem you are addressing as a product developer inside your company has to be attached to the local need. You cannot replicate the products you have in every market you go because probably unless you're Coca-Cola, you'll probably fail. You know, you have to be very big and very very needy to to to
Yeah,
be able to do that.
yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, in fact, I still have a bunch of questions, but we're definitely running out of time. So I guess we're good for now. So probably we should do round two
Awesome.
in some period of time.
I
So
was very happy.
uh, yeah, thanks a lot, Lucas, for sharing your insights on how you're currently building this financial infrastructure in Latam for freelancers specifically. So we appreciate that very much, and we wish you and your company all the best. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, and thank all the audience. And I'm sorry for my English. I will try to improve it.
No issues. Thank you very much. See you.
Bye bye.